Hi guys, this is Nizaar Kinsella taking you through Chelsea's inaugural Club World Cup squad. It's a 28-man squad taking to the United States. Enzo Maresca has picked this group of players. He's left quite a few very interesting ones at home. I'm going to talk you through it. I'm going to go over the sort of ones we expect pretty quickly, the Cole Palmers, Enzo Fernandez, Moises Caicedo. We all expected them. Chelsea are taking this competition seriously, I can tell you that, and they're bringing some pretty strong players. If Chelsea win this, they will get £97 million throughout the tournament, so it's a huge amount of money. They're taking this seriously. This is the first expanded one. I think there's a level of prestige here, so the big players are in the squad. Don't make any mistakes about it. I would caveat the Wesley Fofana is out injured, so he would have been in it, but is just injured and not included. So these are the 28 players, right? Let's go from position. So goalkeeper, of course, Chelsea did look briefly at signing Mike Maignan for AC Milan before the deadline, but that's not happened. So the goalkeepers are the ones you expect: Sanchez and Jorgensen, the 1 and 2 from last season. Also Mike Penders, who's come in from Genk for 17 million. He's very highly rated. I'm going to dwell on him a little bit. It's very interesting signing for Chelsea. He is in, and Maresca's going to take a look at him. I think it's important, these training sessions that he gets in the United States, to try and impress Maresca. Maybe he'll make his debut for Chelsea. He's very young, still just 19, but with some men's team experience, very highly rated. Often compared to Thibaut Courtois, for better or worse. Belgian, tall, extremely tall, but very good with his feet as well. A modern goalkeeper. So yeah, Chelsea expect them to push him in the coming years. They're really excited about him. And then Gabriel Slonina, Gaga Slonina, that's his nickname, Gaga. He's American. He's the 4th goalkeeper in the squad. Of course, Chelsea have sold Marcus Bettinelli, so maybe Slonina can try and make that spot his own. I would suggest that he's maybe one who could leave. He was probably one of the surprise picks of the squad. He's just sort of not had a good time of it at Chelsea. He's been on loan in League One, probably a level below where he expects to be, on his last loan at Barnsley. Then he got injured as well. He did well at Barnsley, by the way, but got injured. That stunted his development, and he's not quite developed into the player that I guess he'd hoped he would have been when he joined from Chicago Fire. So yeah, he's the 4th goalkeeper. Those are the 4. Expect Sanchez, Jorgensen to fight for the main minutes, but we might see a bit of Penders, and probably won't see Slonina, but good to have a bit of a group there competing. Defence, Cucurella you'd expect, Tosin you'd expect, Badiashile. Bit of talk he might leave, but you'd expect him in. Levi Colwill, Trevor Chalobah, again, talk he might leave, but is in and just made his England debut, by the way. Reece James, obviously you'd expect him in, just lifted his first trophy as captain, the Conference League. Malo Gusto, and then Anselmino, a bit of a surprise potentially, because I think he could go on loan, but he's in, and we'll talk a bit later about players. This is an Argentinian player, by the way. If you haven't seen him play, he's come from Boca Juniors, 19, yet to make his debut. He had a bit of a slow start. Chelsea have very much eased him in behind the scenes, and he's in the squad. It'll be a good experience for him. Boca Juniors, of course, his former club, are in the competition, and I think there's a small chance Chelsea could play them in the knockout rounds, and Josh Achimpong as well. There's also Mamadou Sarr, the new signing from Strasbourg. He's 19, he's come in. Very much sold as has a chance of making it at Chelsea this season and staying on. Certainly was always going to be involved in the Club World Cup. I would say there's a small chance he goes on loan again somewhere else, but Chelsea rate him, brought him in from Strasbourg, £12 million. And yeah, he's got a chance of competing sort of for places in this Chelsea squad. So yeah, Chelsea are open to signing a centre-back this summer, but they want to take a look at these guys, see what they've got. They do think that, again, it's similar to goalkeepers, that they have a good spread, good options, especially when Wesley Fofana is fit. But could they, take an opportunity to sign a great player in that position? They've sort of spoken to Van Dijk. That was explored when his contract was expiring from Liverpool. Of course, he's gone to renew it. And also Dean Huijsen was a bit of a target for a while, and he's joined Real Madrid, so they have had a little look in the defence market, but it's not their top priority at the minute, and we'll get to that later. Midfield, Enzo Fernandez, Romeo Lavia, Moises Caicedo, Dewsbury Hall, all of them you'd expect. There's also been a bit of talk Dewsbury Hall could leave, but you'd expect all those to be in it. I don't think Dewsbury Hall's one to push to leave. Probably be Chelsea pushing him out. Now let's get to the interesting two in midfield, which is Dario Esugo, who's a new signing from Sporting. He's been on loan at Las Palmas. Very interesting player, very similar profile to Moises Caicedo. Sort of come in as the backup, but it's no-brainer really, because they're kind of very similar. I think Caicedo probably played slightly too many minutes last season, and I think that was a weakness of Chelsea. They got away with it because Caicedo never got injured. He just about avoided getting 10 yellow cards, by the way. In the league as well, that would have been a 2-game ban, maybe costing them Champions League qualification there. And yeah, he played in a lot of big games in the Cups as well, so Caicedo getting an understudy, that's quite key, a like-for-like option. Also, André Santos, and this is very important, this is a very interesting player. He's always been lined up for a long time to come in during the Club World Cup. I think it sort of felt like a long time coming that this guy would get his chance. He's absolutely excelled at Strasbourg, shone excellently, been brilliant for 18 months there on loan, really helped the club. They qualified for the Conference League. Of course, Strasbourg are linked to Chelsea, same ownership, so you could call them a sister club, partner club, whatever. They are seen on sort of equal billing. But yeah, Santos coming back to Chelsea. He's been on loan there, done well, and he's seen as ready for Chelsea. Now, there's a lot of competition around him. You can see that, what I've said in midfield. Like, at best, there's 3 spots. In reality, there's probably 2 spots for all those players. So yeah, it's going to be intense battle in midfield for competition, competition for places, but at least there'll be Champions League football, high level, competitions, big matches. You might not play one week, but you might be thrust in a big game another. So I think that's the attraction, that's the thinking behind Santos coming in. Been a bit of talk about him leaving, but Chelsea insist they want to keep him, at least for now. Very good player. So yeah, André Santos completes the pack in midfield. And the last point I want to make on this is that he is a loanee that's come in after not being involved in the season. Like most of the players in this squad, either Maresca used them last season, they were in the squad anyway, or the new signings. So, Sarr, Esugo. But Santos is none of those. He's a loanee who's come in. And as we'll see later, because I'm going to go through who's been left out, that's a special place. He's come in from the loan group and made it, and no one else has really done that. So very well done to him. Wide forwards, number 10s. Of course, you got Cole Palmer, Pedro Neto, Noni Madueke, Christopher Nkunku, who everyone expects will leave. Like he almost left in January, or certainly explored. I moved to Bayern Munich, who's also linked with Man United. Not sure there's a lot there in that rumour, but Nkunku definitely one to look at in terms of maybe a leave. And look, Bayern Munich are in the competition as well, by the way. Tyreek George, the young forward who did well last season, excellent debut season, breaking in there. So yeah, he completes that sort of group. Then strikers, Nicholas Jackson, Mark Guiu, and Liam Delap as well. The new striker signing from Ipswich, 30 million, release clause triggered. Chelsea beat loads of clubs to sign him, so very excited. I think one of the big stories of the tournament from Chelsea's perspective will be how will Liam Delap do? How will he do? What will he look like? How will he fit in the system? All this sort of stuff. So yeah, I'll talk more about that in the future, but Liam Delap is in. Of course he is, and the other interesting thing there is that he's sort of been told but chosen as well to play in the Club World Cup instead of the England under-21s. The 2 tournaments overlap. He had a choice to make, but one thing is for sure, that the regulations were on Chelsea's side. If they said you've got to play in the Club World Cup, then there's nothing England or the FA could do about it, because the under-21s tournament exists outside an international window, so it's not an official international period. So usually when that happens, like a World Cup or a Euros, Chelsea have to release the players, but because it's not like that, the club football takes precedence, and that's what's happened here. So Delap gets in with Chelsea. Now, that is 28 players. But Chelsea have a lot more than 28 players, so I'm not even going to go over all of them. But there's a lot of players left out, so João Felix could leave, linked with Benfica, return to his former club where he grew up. Of course, it's not all gone that well for him at Chelsea, but even you could say Atletico Madrid and his loan at AC Milan, it's not been plain sailing for him since leaving Portugal, so maybe a return would be great. They're also in the tournament, by the way. And once you play for one club, by the way, you can't go and play for another. And that's what's going to happen to Jamie Gittins, because the Chelsea target, the winger from Dortmund, who had a 42 million bid rejected on Tuesday, he's been registered by Dortmund, so Chelsea can't use him in the Club World Cup. The first time he'll play for Chelsea will probably be the first game of the Premier League season, so that would be his debut if he does join Chelsea eventually. That one's not dead. Even Dortmund's sporting director has spoken today, Sebastian Kehl, and admitted it's not completely dead, so he could leave in the future, but there is a sticking point, the transfer fee, as so often is. Dortmund want more, Chelsea want to pay less. Let's see where they end up. I'm sure they'll potentially agree that one. Yeah, so going through it, George Petrovic, this one, guys, is the most controversial. I feel it when I spoke about it on Twitter and things like that. I could see the sort of anger that Petrovic is not in, could be for sale. I think he is for sale, or he could go on loan, so that's sort of the idea here. I think he's open to leaving, he wants to leave effectively. Chelsea have other goalkeepers. He's ready to leave and become a number one somewhere else. He doesn't want to take his chance at Chelsea. Of course, last summer he was sort of shipped out on loan to Strasbourg, won their player of the season. And I think that's where a lot of Chelsea fans are frustrated. You know, you've won player of the season at our sister club or our partner club, and yet you won't graduate into becoming a first team player here. And there's a lot of criticism for the sporting directors for this and all that, but Chelsea really do have to focus on developing, you know, 3 goalkeepers at maximum. And I think Sanchez, Jorgensen and Penders, a lot of people wouldn't pick those 3, and they put Petrovic in probably instead of Sanchez. But the thing is, Petrovic wants to leave and it's probably easier to sell. So yeah, maybe that's sort of the reasoning there. Certainly he's exploring his moves and getting a lot of interest across Europe and in England, so we could see him crop up in the Premier League, probably for a smaller club. Just going through them, Disasi, Ben Chilwell, big profile. Sterling again, big profile. He expected not to be included. Now the last 2 that I'm going to mention here, Kendry Pais and Renato Vega, they're known to be frustrated about their non-selection in this squad, because Pais, I think he expected to be in, so did Vega. Vega kind of wanted to play in this competition either for Juventus, who were also in it, or Chelsea, and he ended up playing for neither, so I think there's a great frustration there from him. Certainly Vega is for sale. Kendry Pais is expected to join Strasbourg. Also Matisse Amugu, who made his debut for Chelsea last season in the Conference League, he's not in this competition either. So yeah, he's expected to join Strasbourg on loan. And I think what's happened here, because Chelsea could have selected a 35-man squad, but they've gone with 28, so it's very much a case of Maresca is like pragmatically picking a group that isn't going to get frustrated because there's too many players sat around, and players he knows, and then, you know, new signings he wants to bed in and develop and things like that. So I feel like this squad is a pragmatic squad, a winning squad, over maybe a squad that will make everyone happy. So yeah, right, I've been talking a lot. That's everything from me on the squad. There'll probably be more updates and news around the Club World Cup. I'm going to go there on Saturday, so you can follow the journey with me here. This is a little video tester to see what you like and what you want to hear from me about. Also, put in the comments below if you have any subjects you'd like to talk about. But for now, this is my analysis of Chelsea's Club World Cup squad and the ins and outs of that group.
Subscribe to Bridge Briefing with Nizaar Kinsella.